In this video, what I want to do is break down all things lead generation, from traditional prospecting to modern social media or digital marketing strategies. And as a real estate agent, I want to explain not just the pros and cons to each of these, but when you should actually be using them and the proper strategy you need to use in order to scale your business to the point where you can actually create the lifestyle of your dreams and not get stuck in the rut of always chasing the next deal like most agents. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mike Sherrard. I train thousands of agents every single year on how to scale their business using modern strategies. But I did start my business and built it to a top producer level using traditional strategies as well. And what I want to do in this video is break it down for you. Now, before we get into this, 76% of you that watch my content are unfortunately not subscribed. So show me a bit of love, make my day, please, and just subscribe even if you don't watch another video ever in your life from my channel. And if you do get value from this, drop me a thumbs up. So let's break this down because we've got obviously traditional prospecting, and then we've got modern digital and social media strategies. So let's first talk about the pros and cons of each. Now, when we look at cold calling and door knocking, they are effective. Now, what I want to do here is explain the difference between effective and efficient. Now, effective is 1-to-1 ratio and efficient is 1 to many. And when we start looking at going through this journey together, we want to start off effective and then eventually build an efficient business. So the reason why cold calling and door knocking is effective is because it actually really does work. Door knocking crushed it for me. But your business is only growing when you're putting the boots on the ground, making the calls or hitting the doors. So if you put 3 hours of work in, you get 3 hours of output, right? 3 hours in, 3 hours out, which is good because that's how you get now business. So when you're looking at traditional prospecting, this is what will get you deals today, right? Because even though it isn't the most fun, it is effective, again, as you can see down here, and it does allow you to control the amount of conversations you have per day. Now, let's look at cold calling versus door knocking. There's a reason why I latched on to door knocking more than cold calling. And the reason for this is because I found when cold calling, it doesn't allow you to, again, build a relationship with people. They have no idea what you look like. They have no idea how old you are, how you're dressing, or anything like that. And even though that doesn't matter, unfortunately, to some people it does, because when you're in front of people, hence door knocking, they are a lot less likely to hang up on you or shut the door on you. It does happen, but just based on being face-to-face, human to human, it actually, I found, increases your conversion if you understand how to properly communicate, handle objections, follow a script, because you're person to person and people actually, despite some people, most people do have emotions and don't just want to slam a door in your face. So I found that while you can go for mass scale with cold calling because you can use a triple line dialer and bang out a ton of numbers, the conversion percent is drastically higher with door knocking if you have the ability to get out there and do it. Now, again, those two are effective. Now let's look at things like Facebook ads and Google ads. So with Facebook ads and Google ads, it is pay to play, right? So if you don't put money in, you don't get money out. Now, these are both, again, very good. However, they are linear in most cases. And what that means is that if you put in a certain amount of dollars, you're going to get a certain amount of output because it's very linear growth. And again, if you stop paying, you don't generate leads. So they are effective as well. And they're very effective from a modern strategy because it does allow you to have scale or leverage. And leverage is extremely important once you want to start building a more efficient top producing business. So as we start going down here, a couple things to mention with Facebook ads versus Google ads first is when you look at Facebook ads, it is more of quantity. And when you look at Google ads, it is more quality. So Facebook ads might be cheaper and Google ads might be more expensive, but the lead quality on Google is much higher. So if you do have the ability to be running both in parallel, that's fantastic. And you can get very high quality leads on Facebook if you do it properly. Like I show in my free social media training, if you want it, drop a comment, I'll give it to you. But Google ads are a very great way to get started with warmer or hotter leads. Now, Instagram's an interesting one because this is one that takes immense effort in order to build. Because what happens is it's very in the moment content. and it requires a lot of maintenance because you have to constantly be posting. Posts die after 24 hours. Yes, you can run Facebook ads on Instagram as well, but I'm just talking about organic posting. It's great for building your personal brand, and it is more of a delayed gratification game, which is fine. I generated a ton of business. That's how I got ranked #1 agent on my city in social media. But let's go on to YouTube. YouTube's a very interesting one. And the reason why YouTube is so powerful, there's an agent in my group at EXP. He's on 70 deals in his first 11 months. Another agent in my group at EXP that averages 8 deals a month entirely for free as a new agent in a new market with no ad spend, no marketing, no prospecting, just from YouTube. Now, the reason why YouTube's really cool is because it's free. So you don't have to pay, and it's evergreen. And what happens with evergreen is, unlike Facebook ads and Google ads, which we saw up here, where again, if you stop paying, you stop getting leads. The beautiful part about YouTube is that if you optimize it properly, and that's the key word here, it can grow forever, it can rank forever, and it can be attracting clients at scale 24/7. This is very efficient because it's one to many. So when you put out, for example, effective versus efficient, when you're door knocking or cold calling, your business is only growing when you're putting the boots on the ground or the phone to the ear. With YouTube, it's basically like if you properly optimize a well-driven SEO related video, it's basically door knocking for you 24/7, 365. So it's very efficient and it's effective because with YouTube, people are reaching out directly to you. So the lead conversion is astronomically high. Now with TikTok, it's a very interesting one. The strategy here with TikTok is actually not just generating leads on TikTok. It's actually the fact that you can connect your TikTok to your IG and your YouTube, and you can use a strategic bio link, something like Linktree, that allows you to have multiple resources. And the strategy there is leveraging a modern platform. And if you want to, I would love for you to follow me on TikTok because I post every single day tips that I don't share on any other platform. But when you start looking at your bio, that's where you can create very strategic resources like buyer's guides, seller's guides, relocation guides, investment guides, home evaluations, property tours, market reports, anything like that. And it's a great way to leverage the mass engagement you can get for free on this very trending social media platform to drive traffic to either other platforms that you've already got a strong presence on or to a bio link. Now, let's talk about how to do all of this together. Okay, so here's kind of the trajectory of how I went about my real estate business. Is you've got like a timeline here, and you've got maybe 1 year, 2 years, and beyond, right? So this is 2+, this is 1, and this is 0. So let's look at what you should do from years 0 to 1, years 1 to 2, and years 2 onward. This is what people struggle with. There's a lot of people want to go straight to social media and never do prospecting, which can work. We've had a ton of agents in my group at EXP do exactly that. But if you're not following a very specific proven process, which most aren't, what they do is they want to go straight to what they like, what they think is fun, which is usually the social side of things. But what happens is, again, it's efficient, but if you're not doing it properly, it's not as effective for now business. Because when you look at social, it is delayed gratification. And when you look at something that has leverage like social, the curve goes like this, and then there's an inflection point, and then it skyrockets. So there's going to be a point with social where, you're putting out tons of content, you're putting out tons of videos, you're getting literally no engagement, not many views, and not many clients coming from your content, but then it hits an inflection point and it skyrockets. Whereas when you start looking at, for example, getting started on traditional prospecting, which is like cold calling, door knocking, things like that, it is a very linear growth curve. And what happens here is that if you need business today, maybe this is time and this is leads, if you put in a certain amount of time, you're going to get a certain amount of leads. And you can control that if you properly communicate and understand how to convert, follow a script, things like that. So the way that I went about it, and it worked very well for me, is you want to be doing a bit of both in the beginning. So when you're doing, getting started as a real estate agent, you want to do some prospecting, and you want to do some social media or digital marketing. Now, this is going to be your now business. So if you don't have business right now, you should be prospecting, period. I swear by door knocking, cold calling works too. But even though I preach social media as the way to go, which I'll get to, you should be doing prospecting today. If you have no business, you have no excuses not to do it. and you should be starting to build on social. And this is going to be your foundation. Now, what's going to happen is you might be spending a lot of time on prospecting and a little bit of time on social media, right? And then what's going to happen is these are going to shift. And what you'll see is you're going to eventually get to the point like this. Whereas if you look at time invested into each activity, which are done by these terrible graphs that I'm doing here, this is going to be the trajectory that you should be able to go on, is to eventually graduate from having to rely on one-to-one scaling your business, which is traditional prospecting, and eventually go one-to-many by using social media marketing. And there's going to be, again, that's why it is like a curve. You're going to see that it's like an inflection point where you start high and then you eventually can dip off and tailor off. Whereas with social media, it starts low and then it'll eventually take off for you around your first year and a half or your second year. So in the beginning, if you want to get started on social media or prospecting, my recommendation is if you need business now, you should be prospecting. You should also always maintain a presence on social, knowing that it's a delayed gratification game, because when we look down here, and this is the last thing I'll say, is if we don't get started, it's never going to come, because a lot of people are waiting for this part to happen right here, but they're skipping this part right here. And when you skip that part and you don't start year 0, then 1, then 2, right? And they're skipping this, hoping to get to year 2 without building the foundation. So my recommendation is to be doing all of it in the beginning, build your momentum, build your foundation, and then start to scale the social. And as you start to build a more predictable business, leveraging things like a CRM to nurture the leads that you already have, build your sphere, you'll be able to stop prospecting and increase your content on social media, build a more scalable business, create leverage, create lifestyle, and build the real estate business of your dreams with more time to enjoy your life. So hopefully that explains prospecting, social media, digital marketing, the whole 9 yards of how to build a scalable real estate business and do it in a way over a couple of years that will actually remove yourself from having to do the monotonous cold calling, door knocking, and activities that nobody really enjoys, so that you can start to focus on things that you really do enjoy. So hopefully that explains a little bit to you, gives you some context. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.